Hi, this is Lyle with Optimized Profitability. Today I'm here with Shondell, my new friend. I love to meet her. She's a mom of two. She's got a 1-year-old and a 5-year-old. So if you hear some noise, you may have a little one running around somewhere. She loves helping financial institutions, specifically in content writing, things like newsletters and blog posts and things like that. But more than that, she loves talking on podcasts to help entrepreneurs in their journey. So I'm looking forward to hearing your story today, Shondell. Tell us, what's your story?
Thank you so much for having me. I love being here. I'm originally from Toronto, Canada. And so my business got started because I had a property that I was living in, and I had a rental property, and I paid both of those mortgages off in a fairly short period of time. And I think I told maybe 3 of my friends, and one of my friends, she just, got so excited and said, you have to help other people to do the same thing. So I thought, okay, why not? And she suggested that I start a blog. And I didn't know what a blog was at the time. I just, I was like, whatever. She explained to me what a blog was and how, it could reach a wide audience of people. And I thought, okay, well, it sounds good. So I taught myself how to blog, created my own website on WordPress, and just started blogging. And over time, my blog started to get popular, and I was a part of that whole personal finance community. And at one point, Redbook magazine started contacting me, radio stations started contacting me, just wanting to hear my story. And then that led to me working with a lady by the name of Gail Vazoxlade. She's the Susie Orman, but of Canada. And once I started working with her, companies started contacting me, wanting me to write for them. And I still had my full-time job at the time. And so I couldn't handle all of the work that I was getting. So my husband suggested that I hire some writers to help me out with the writing. And then I thought, I don't even think I'm that really of a good writer. There's got to be better writers out there. And then I could focus on, managing the team and the marketing, which is more my strength. So that's what I did. I just hired some writers, hired some editors, and we continued to grow the business. And then I brought the business here to Atlanta, Georgia, simply because I wanted to live here for like 13 years. I've always loved this place. I've wanted to live here for so long. So it just made sense that we could, just bring the business here. And here we are today. And we're more niche specific now in terms of who we write for. Now we mainly write for just financial institutions. Before we were writing for everybody, until I realized, it was just too much. Mm-hmm. It's easier to just focus on one niche, and we just chose financial institutions because that's my background. I'm actually a qualified originator in Georgia as well, and I have my license in Ontario. So it just kind of made sense, since my whole entire background is working with banks and credit unions and mortgage brokers and things like that. Mm-hmm. So it's just a nice fit because I understand that world, and that's how we got to where we are today.
And what was that mindset you had to go through to change from the corporate job to doing a business?
I realized early on, because I've always had a biweekly paycheck since I started working. So I realized in order for a business to work for me, I needed to figure out how to create a way where money was coming in consistently and not just, whenever. So that was when I had decided that we needed to put people on monthly retainers, because that was the only way I was going to be able to hire if I knew exactly how much money was coming in. So we did that really, really early on, only took on clients that needed monthly retainers. And just also what I had to move from thinking like an employee to an employer. That was very difficult for me because I've always been an employee. So even when I was hiring writers, I was still thinking like an employee. My husband had to say, you do have to schedule meetings. You do have to, lead the team. It's not just you hiring writers and then you kind of say, okay, just write this. No, you have to have more of a structure. So he really helped me to structure the business and to think, what he said to me was, just like how things were organized when you work for the company, you've got to now create that order in your company. So you have to structure things. You have to have meetings with your clients. You have to know what your clients want. So he was really just telling me that I had to create processes and systems, put systems in place so that the business could run efficiently. And that's what, that took some time, because he would keep saying, did you guys have a meeting? Like, no. So what are they doing today? I think what I told him to do last week. So it was just, so that really did, like, he has the patience of Job, because he was just always on me with, you have to structure the business in order for it to grow. So that took some time, but we do have meetings now. So it's much better now. But that was the biggest mind shift for me, was moving from employer to employee to employer.
And when you started having those meetings and everything, what did you have to go through? Did you have to just kind of say, I'm boss now?
No,
Or...
I never do that. I hate that. I don't even like me. I don't even have unnecessary meetings, because I used to hate meetings working in the corporate world. Like we don't have a meeting if there's no need to have a meeting. But no, I have an outline of what we're going to discuss. Usually, it may be a larger client that we're bringing on board, and we got to discuss the logistics on, what we're going to write, how we're going to write this type of content, so the team is aware. So it's very strategic, and it's not, I don't have hour-long. I hate meetings. So, and I think my staff does too. So I just don't like unnecessary. If there's no need to meet, we're not meeting. Right. So, we have an outline, and I got that from the corporate world. There was always what we're going to discuss. So usually just a few points, just so they're not, I would go to meetings sometimes and there was like 20 things we're going to discuss, and I'm tuned out after the first one. So I don't usually have more than 2-3 things that we're going to discuss in one meeting. And then, we just keep it going. But I always have an outline of what we're going to discuss, and they're aware of that, so they can come prepared.
All right, let's take it just a step further, because a lot of people may be new and they've never had to have meetings before, and this is new for them. Do you send them an agenda for the meeting?
Yes.
You send it to everybody, and how advanced do you send it? Do you send it 2 days advance? You give them 7 days?
Usually just a day. In advance. Usually, even before we meet, we're having discussions anyways. Like, we talk a lot through email and stuff like that. And we have an internal system that our IT guy created. So we talk through that as well. So they're usually aware that, because I'll say, let's meet on this, because we have a few things that we're going to discuss. So they're usually aware that we're going to have a meeting and what we're going to discuss. I just make it, more organized. And so these are the things we're going to discuss. We're not really going to go off of that, just so the meeting doesn't get drawn out. So they're usually aware of what we're going to talk about. And then I just send them an agenda, a day in advance. And we just go from there. Maybe a little bit, if I need to get their input on something, or if they have questions that they're coming with, then I'll send them it, a little bit. I'll give them a little bit more time, because if I need some feedback, or if they're going to send some questions that I need to prepare some answers for, then I'll send it a little earlier. But usually, for the most part, it's just a day.
And do you recap the meeting afterwards and send it to them?
No. I'll send them a recap of the notes. And usually it's recorded anyway, so that's posted, so they can go back over it. But I try to do things so it's not, too much. Like, I'm very simple. Mm-hmm. So the recap is there, and they can go and read it over or watch it again if they want to. But that's usually how we do it.
Cool. Awesome. And what are you doing right now in your business that you feel like is helping you to win in life and in business?
Building better relationships. That is hands down. That's been a change, that's been a life change for me. And I take that in every area of my life, because I was not really big on building quality relationships growing up. Like, I would have friends and things like that, and people in my life, but now I really pay attention to the people in my life, the clients that we have. Like, I want to get to know people on a personal level. I want it to go beyond just us writing for them. Like, I want to get to know people on a personal level. That's so important to me. That's what life is all about. And I wish I'm instilling that in my children, my 5-year-old, because I want her to, just love more, just care more, just, place people first. Is really what I want to get through to her, because I didn't do that growing up. And I've had to learn that, I woke up and said, I don't have enough friends, or I don't have enough good quality relationships. Right. And it's my fault, because I'm the common denominator. So I had to change that. And it's great now, because now, I've got clients and I get invited to all these different things, and it's great. And that comes from getting to know people and realizing, well, we have something, we both like to play basketball. Let's go play basketball on Sunday. Right. So it's just, building quality relationships has definitely been the game changer for me. And it makes me happier, because I love people. I love hanging out with people. I love getting to know people, especially since, people seem to be fascinated with my accent here in the South. So it's a conversation starter. Right. But my mom is from Jamaica. My dad's from Africa. I was born in Canada, and now I live in Atlanta. So I'm very big on meeting people from different places. Like, I just love it. Like, it's just nice meeting people that are so different from me. Right. Because we're so similar, but at the same time, we grew up differently. We may look different, but I just love meeting people that are just, different. They think different. I love that.
Yeah, the cultures, we can learn from each other. That's so
Yes,
important.
yes. That just makes us, that was part of the reason why my mom, because she was born in Jamaica, and then she left Jamaica and moved to Bahamas and then moved to Canada. But a big reason why she wanted to live in Canada is because it's so multicultural. Like Toronto actually means the meeting place. So there's so many different cultures. Like you can literally, like if you're a foodie, you can eat Greek food one day, you can eat Japanese food Tuesday, Italian food. Like there's so many different kinds of people there. And that was part of the reason why she wanted to raise her children in Toronto, because where she grew up, there was just, one race. There were a few, but not as much as Toronto. You just meet so many different kinds of people. And she loves that. She wanted us to grow up and learn, different cultures, taste different foods, just be a part of, different worlds in the same city.
Oh yeah, I agree with that totally. So you're talking about relationships, and we're in 2020 and everybody's got different versions of how far, how close they can be with people and all that stuff. Yeah. What are some things you're doing right now that you didn't do a year ago to make those connections?
I'm in Facebook groups. And I'm on LinkedIn all the time. My ideal customer is on LinkedIn. Yeah. So I to build relationships on LinkedIn, I will I've got Sales Navigator. So I will save my ideal customer. I connect with people every single day, and then I'll save them in Sales Navigator. So I'm notified every time they post something on LinkedIn, and then I'll go in, and if I could provide value, I'll comment on something and I do that every day. I take 20 minutes and I do that every single day. And that helps me to build relationships with my ideal customer. And then I post on LinkedIn every single day as well. And one of my assistants helps me with the post. Just so we try to post like 5 times, and I'm trying to bring that up to 10 times a day. But that's what we do to try to build relationships. We connect with people every day. I post on people's, my ideal clients' posts every single day. And then we also post things on LinkedIn every day as well. And I'm in Facebook groups. So, I'm in a lot of Facebook groups, some for personal, and then for my business Facebook groups, I go in there, and if I could provide value, if I can answer questions, I do that as a way to build our brand as well. So since we're not able to meet as much, and then I get invited to some of our clients, like I just was a judge for a Halloween party in October for one of our clients. So that was tons of fun. So things like that I'll do as well. I love being a part of things like that, because that just gets me in front of them, even though, normally I would just go into the office for that. But since, people are working virtual and we're doing the social distancing. So those are some of the things that I do to try to still, have that relationship with people and with my clients.
Okay. So I'm going to ask you a very specific question, because you said you spend 20 minutes. And a lot of people get in there and they get sucked into Facebook world, especially if they're a new entrepreneur. What they do is they get their mindset, I've got to get in there, and they're there all day because they feel like they're doing something, but they're not accomplishing anything.
Yeah.
So how do you get that in there and out of there in 20 minutes? You have a system set up? How do you do that?
Yes. I can't remember his name, but the creator of ClickFunnels said this so well. Russell Brunson, that's it. He said, you want to be a creator in social media, not a consumer of social media. So you don't want to be consuming the content. You want to create content for social media.
Right.
He captured it so well when he said that. He articulated it better than I just did, but that's what he was saying. And I really am big on that, because you can get lost in social media. Yes. So I literally will set my timer to spend 20 minutes in there. And I do that every single day. And then what I do is I'll take 2 hours a week. And usually on a Monday morning, or if I have time on a Sunday evening, I'll do it. I try not to work on Sundays, but because the kids have been home. But I'll take 2 hours a week, and I will create all the posts for like a whole week, or sometimes I can create enough for 2 weeks. And then I use Buffer, and I schedule them in Buffer. And then I have enough posts for 2 weeks, so I don't even have to think about that. And then I'll just schedule the 20 minutes to get in there every single day and interact with my ideal customer. So that's what I do for, that's the system that I have. And it works pretty well, because at least I'm active and I'm also engaging with my ideal customer.
And it's the Pareto effect. However much time you give is how much time you're going to spend there. If you give yourself a time, you have forever in there.
All day. Oh yeah. And the thing is, that's the job of these social media sites. They want you to be consuming as much information as possible, so you stay on there all day. And it's easy to do that, especially Facebook. Facebook is brilliant in sucking you in. Like they must listen to our conversations, because I will be talking to my husband about something and I see an ad on Facebook. And I'm just like, really? And I get caught into it because I bought stuff from Facebook ads. So
Yeah.
it's just, so I'm really, mindful of that, especially since, we're business owners too. So, and we advertise. So I'm really mindful of, the amount of time I spend on, because it's so easy to get lost. And it's fun. There's so much interesting stuff on there.
Yes.
But, I could be reading a book and learning something new. So I gotta, I put my timer on, and that helps me a lot.
That's smart. Yes. So what tip would you give an entrepreneur who's just getting started? They've never been in the real entrepreneur world. They've always been in the business world or the corporate world. What tip would you give them to help them take that next step to become more professional and a better entrepreneur?
There's a lot of things, but I think one of the big ones is know who you want to target and get where they are, and build relationships with them. For example, I'll just give you an example because we write for financial institutions. So what their target market is, a lot of them, their target market is first-time home buyers. So the ones who we work with, some smaller ones that they know who they want to target, but they're not sure how to build relationships with their target audience. And I will tell them, you have to go where they are and be a part of the conversation that they're already having. For example, first-time home buyers, there's a ton of Facebook groups on first-time home buyers, and they are in these Facebook groups wanting to know what's their minimum down payment, what's the minimum beacon score that they have to have.
Right.
They want to check out different neighborhoods. They want to know what neighborhoods should they be thinking of buying in. They want to buy in an area that has a good school district. So things like that, they're talking about all these different things. So you want to be where they are talking about it. So whoever your target audience is, find out where they are. If they're on forums, if they're in these groups, go to these groups and provide value. When they're asking questions, chime in there and answer some of those questions. A lot of these groups, you can't advertise your services directly, but you don't need to if you're providing enough value. If you're answering the questions that they have, and then you want to make sure that on your Facebook page or LinkedIn, wherever your target audience is, you make sure that you have exactly what you do on your profile with your contact information, with your website information, so that if you're in these groups answering enough questions, they will eventually raise their hand and possibly ask if they can message you directly or go on your Facebook page. So you can put whatever you want on your Facebook page, all of your information, to make it easy for them to connect with you. So that is what I would suggest you do. And when you do that and you just be a part of the conversation that your ideal customer has, you're listening to what they want. And then you could provide that to them through your product or your service if it's a good fit. Because all you're doing is just bridging the gap between what it is they're asking for and the product or service that you have to sell. You're just bridging the gap. They've already said they want it. So now it just makes the transition so much easier. And that's great selling, in my opinion.
Absolutely. Yes. You find a solution and add to the value. Value is key.
Yeah. And you can only do that if you know your ideal customer. If you've built relationships with them, you know them just like how you know your friend, you know what they want. And that's just because you've spent time with them, you've talked to them, so you hear what they want. So that's why I say these Facebook groups are huge, because it allows you to get into them and see what your ideal customer wants and stay in them. Now, this does take a few months to really get to know them, because you're looking for patterns,
right.
And then take it a step further and start creating content answering those questions. So it's a whole marketing approach that you can take when you do this. But the more you know your customer, the better it is, because then the better able you are to serve them.
I agree. So we're going to take this conversation a little bit deeper, talking about relationships. I've already talked to Shondell. So you want to go to Optimize Profitability. You're going to look for episode number 18. Look for the name Shondell, and we're going to be talking specifically about how to deepen those relationships, and you get to know her a little bit more. We're going to have a great dynamic conversation. So make sure to join us at optimizeprofitability.com. Thanks for being on with us, Shondell, and I'll see you in a minute.
Yes, thank you so much for having me.